Hey, this is Big Bad Bud Norris, and you're listening to Section 336.
Section 336. Section 336. Section 336. It's the new Baltimore generation talking about the Orioles and the Ravens. And someday Josh, Bert, and Matt might even find time to talk about the Blasts. This is the world's greatest podcast. No better place to talk about sports that are being played in Baltimore. Section 336. Section 336. Section 336. Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, next generation of Baltimore sports talk. I am your endearingly stuttering host, Matt Sroka. As always, I'm joined by the button lover, Josh Sroka.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good,
you have a good
good.
Vacation?
What's that?
You have a good vacation?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, the kids was sick, and it was, I don't know. Sometimes I prefer to stay at home, but it was fun. It was good. It was good.
You know what? I didn't give you a chance to introduce Bert.
Oh, yeah. That's because Bert needs no introduction, literally because he's not on the show this week. Or last
2 weeks in a row. You know, three's a winning streak.
And, yeah.
Or a losing
let's
streak.
see. Who will have more appearances in the second half of the season, Bert or David Hess? Let's start making our bets.
Well, we'll have to get to that a little later with Cashner going because someone's going to have to get some starts.
Yeah. Today on the show, we will get into some of the trade candidates. I have a snowflake of the week, and we'll also talk about some all-star festivities and juiced balls. But let's start, Josh, with saying a happy trails, a goodbye to a friend of the show.
Bert? We saying goodbye to Bert?
No. The Orioles this past week released friend of the show, Alex Murphy.
Oh, yes. Yes, Alex Murphy.
Yeah, who unfortunately was coming back from injury again. And he was trying to get healthy. And he was released right when he was at this point of getting healthy again. So, I mean, the poor guy his career has been riddled with injuries. We all hope and wish Alex Murphy the best, and hopefully this is not the last we've heard of Alex Murphy.
Yeah, I think he'll get a spring invite from someone because he showed enough promise before the injuries that someone's going to give him a spring invite. And you know what? It probably works out better for him as a catcher to not be in the Orioles organization with them just drafting Rodriguez as not Rodriguez, Rushman.
Yeah.
Get my R names confused. But it probably will work out better if he is in a different organization for him. But Alex and I did some texting on the 4th of July when the news broke, and he will be joining us on the show in the future. It's just probably not good timing right now. He'd be a little too honest if we got him on the mic right now. And he still would like to play baseball.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, a 6th-round pick. He's drafted a local kid out of Calvert Hall. That's what we always liked. He's a local kid. We liked him for other reasons, too.
A nice guy.
Just super nice, chill, down-to-earth dude. I mean, that was the year we drafted a bunch of catchers, right? Chance Sisco, who was the first rounder. Then we took Alex Murphy, and we also took Jonah Heim. Jonah Heim last year was traded to Tampa. Alex Murphy was released. Chance Sisco's somehow in the majors, but
right.
And it's one of those things, and you don't hear about it a lot. There's like a million Alex Murphys, right, who have all the talent in the world, 6th-round pick out of high school, super talented, got a nice contract, and just couldn't stay healthy, right? Like, just couldn't stay healthy.
Normally those guys come to the Orioles. Like, we're normally the team that gives them their 3rd or 4th try in the majors.
Yeah, but this is for every guy that is given 5 chances in the majors, like a Nolan Reimold.
Right, there's a guy that doesn't.
Guys who are given 2 and 3 chances in Double-A and just can't stay healthy. Which is, it has to be so frustrating for Alex Murphy. I mean, we see this still going on right now with Austin Hayes, who's I think should be back at Norfolk on Thursday playing, but he's another guy who Austin Hayes has a really high ceiling, but the whole question now becomes, can he stay healthy?
Right. Yeah, Alex Murphy, we even somehow he agreed to come into my basement before we even really built a studio, and we were just recording in the basement. We suckered him in to come into one of our Airbnbs at spring training. Mm-hmm. So, and he's gone out to like show events, cornhole or something.
We did cornhole tournament. He was a partner, I believe, of the World's Worst Intern. Him and the intern are BFFs.
Right. So great guy that I'm sure is going to get another chance, and can't wait to have him back on this show, maybe in the off season, and then continue to root for him wherever he goes.
Yeah, we're rooting hard for Alex Murphy. All right. So with that said, let's talk about this All-Star game. Josh, I know, Josh, you're out there putting out the dailies from some shady hotel in Florida.
Hey, I moved hotels.
Okay, is this an upgrade or a downgrade?
This is an upgrade. This is an upgrade. A downgrade, and I would not have been able to do the show. This is an upgrade. I've got decent internet. I've got a decent television that works.
Does this hotel charge by the hour like the last one?
When did we do our show last? Was it before or after 4th of July?
It was before.
It was. All right, I got to tell you about my 4th of July.
All right, the last story I heard from you was about your movie going experience.
Yeah. So 4th of July, I'm still at the Shady Hotel.
Right.
So I had no plans for 4th of July because I know no one down here. I drove down to Daytona because I said, hey, there's a big race this weekend. I've saw all these like NASCAR trucks come into town earlier in the week. I'm going to go down by the Speedway. Surely there's people down there and something going on. It was dead. There was no one there. So they probably do the fireworks out at the beach or something, not at the Speedway. But I was at the Speedway like middle of the day thinking there'd be stuff going on. There wasn't. So I went back to the hotel room.
Man, someone go hang out with Josh. Jeez, poor guy driving around all by himself. And
you know what I did?
Florida.
I went and I bought an Xbox. I went to GameStop and they had an Xbox for $150 used.
Nice.
So I got that, and I've been playing RBI Baseball 2015.
Nice.
Because I didn't buy any games for it, so it was whatever I could download for free.
Nice.
But anyway, so I'm sitting in my hotel room, and I am just playing on the Xbox, and it's night, and I hear the fireworks go off, and all of a sudden I'm like, that one was really close. So I go and I look out my window, and this is how close it was. Remember, this Shady Hotel, like, people live there, basically.
Right.
And the person at the hotel room next to me had their door open, and they were shooting Roman candles out, not from the porch, but from inside that room, out the doorway. Like, I looked, and I would just see the fireworks come flying out of the room. And out of the door.
Going where? Like into the street? Or was there like a courtyard or something?
No. Into the parking lot.
Just right into the parking lot.
Right into the parking lot. I told you, the messed up hotel. Straight into they were too lazy to get out of their hotel room to set off the fireworks, so they shot them out the door. It's very weird.
Well, at least you got a good show. I've made a list of plus and minuses of you moving to Florida. One of the pluses is I do expect you. Like, you can take over Bert's story time with Florida story time. Because Florida's insane.
So far, I'm 2 for 2, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a plus. One minus is, though, it's kind of annoying you going in Florida, because Florida's complicated. Because people always want to know, like, well, what part of Florida did he move to? Like, what's it near?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Where, if you're in Maryland, you're Eastern Shore, Western Shore, like, there's not all that many places. Florida, there's like a million places you could be. It's so big.
Yeah, I think it's more of the fact that you're in Maryland, where people in Florida know the different areas of Florida, just like you know the different areas of Maryland. So I've learned that I tell people that I'm from the D.C. area.
Oh, really? As opposed to the Annapolis area, just doesn't get it done?
Well, I'll say Annapolis or I'll say Maryland, and here's the question: 100% every time. So I hear Baltimore is really bad now. I hear it's even worse than The Wire was. Because it was bad when The Wire was on, and now it's really bad. And now, like, yeah, it's not having some great time. And then I'll pause and be like, but The Wire was fictional, right?
I don't know. I watch CSI Miami, and someone dies every single episode with CSI Miami. So I don't know if
but they solve it in like 60 minutes. So it's an easy show or an
That's
easy
true.
crime.
Omar
But,
is not as easily
yeah.
caught. Yeah, it's true.
Right. But it's interesting because I say I'm from D.C. because I'm talking to like work people, and that's where I did a lot of my work was in D.C.
Right.
And no one questions like, oh, well, D.C., does that have crime or whatever? D.C. this, that. The only thing is I had this one guy who came up to me and was like, so you were working in D.C.? And I'm like, yeah, all the time. He said, and that's where the White House is? I said, yeah, it's in D.C. And people can just like walk up to it? And I said, well, yeah. I mean, there's a big fence
There's a
and
fence
guards.
around it, yeah.
There's like snipers on the roof. Snipers, like real guns? Yeah. It's the White House. The president like lives there. But I don't understand. People can just walk up to it in like a circle where it blew his mind that like DC. So I'm definitely learning the whole what we take for granted in
Right.
Maryland versus down here.
Right.
But yeah, it's an adjustment. And the only question I get worse is, when's your family moving down? Because our house hasn't sold yet. So for now on, every episode of Section 336 is brought to you by my house. Go buy it.
That's right. A nice house in Arnold. Good school district.
Yeah, right. Apparently, that's what I always thought. It'll sell eventually.
It will. You did a daily, but you have plenty of time on your hands with no family.
Yeah, so that's why I've been doing the
talk about
dailies.
baseball, and you can do the dailies.
Yeah.
Today you talked about juice balls.
Oh, yeah,
You
because
want to
did you
talk
watch
to us about
the
your juice balls?
Yeah, did you watch the Home Run Derby last night?
I was driving home, but I went back and watched all the highlights.
So I watched the Home Run Derby, and I enjoyed it a lot last night. In fact, it's the first time where I've
Home Run
learned
Derby is
that I
fun.
like. Right, and I've always liked the Home Run Derby, but when they changed from like the 10 outs to the clock, I never really liked the clock.
Oh, a big fan of the clock.
This year, I really like the clock. The only way the way they can make the clock better is they need to get rid of the guy who says when you can throw your next pitch, and forget about can't throw it until the ball lands. They need to just be doing it like a ball machine. Just
How fast the guy can
pitching.
swing.
How
Yeah.
fast? Right. So, and I love that in the Home Run Derby that you get to pick your like pitcher. So it doesn't have to be. It can be a random guy or your brother or something. I love that. But yeah. Come on. Yesterday was a showcase of the juice ball in baseball. And they purposely never said it during the ESPN broadcast. But it was a showcase. Vlad hit 91 home runs. And they were fun. And they were fun to watch. But the previous record was 61. He blew it out of the water. Don't tell me that ball is not juiced.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool show in that you guys like Acuna and Vlad Guerrero Jr., I think everyone agrees Vlad Guerrero Jr. stole the show. It's a good time to be a baseball fan. There's just so many young, talented baseball players like Acuna and Vlad Guerrero. And Peter Alonso, who won it, kind of has busted out.
Right, but you're right. The highlight of the Home Run Derby was the Acuna and Vlad going to the swing off twice, and just that round. That was the highlight.
Yeah, I think there was a period where Vlad hit something like 15 out of 19 swings for home runs, which is pretty incredible. Though Manfred came out and said he quoted scientists have measured the ball. I don't know why it takes scientists to measure baseball. But anyway.
The same reason it took scientists for Deflategate.
Scientists had measured the ball, and scientists had measured the hardness. They brought scientists in to measure the hardness, and he says it's the same.
No, we heard this in New England. We heard this in New England with the deflated balls and how they brought in scientists to prove that the balls weren't deflated. It's crap. That ball is juiced. There's no way it magically. I know these guys are bigger and better trained, but it's not the $6 million man out there. I mean, this is what they are $6 million men, but they're not that much better that they're going to crush the ball the way it's flying out. Did you see that hit a couple weeks ago when Trey Mancini kind of just did a little check swing and knocked the ball out of the park?
Oh yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Yeah, there's one every other game where it's like a check swing. I mean, we've seen so many guys hit home runs off the Orioles, and most of them are deserved, but some of them are kind of laughable. But I'm actually on the other side of it. I don't think the balls are juiced on purpose. I think this is just kind of a mistake. I mean, Manfred did acknowledge that the balls have less resistance in the air, and he doesn't know why it is, and he says they need to get better at testing balls in the preseason.
Did they?
So I'll take his word for it.
They got a bunch
they
of
just have a bunch
dimples?
of balls. They get a bunch of balls with no resistance. They need to put like little hairs on them. Right? That's what like a swimmer shaves off his leg to have less resistance. They just need to put.
Is this
hairs
it's like a golf ball?
Yeah, put some dimples.
That's where you're going with hairy balls. The pitchers will love that, I'm sure.
I'm not saying hairy balls. I'm just saying maybe like peach fuzz balls. I think that could be
like
the response because those would be less resistant.
Like
so
a biker.
That's the answer. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I have peach fuzz balls.
Will you be mad, Josh, if John Means does not make an appearance in this year's All-Star game?
Is that even so? The All-Star game, is that even a conversation anymore? Because doesn't everyone make an appearance now because they don't care about winning? They're just doing a little showcase.
I think there's still too many guys for everyone to make it in there, as far as innings. So even if everyone just pitches an inning, there's too many guys.
All right, and I mean it'd be cool if John Means got in there, but he's one guy representing the worst team in baseball. So
yeah, I'd be annoyed.
He's not like the guy everyone's there to see.
We only get one guy. We should be able to see him.
Yeah, and that'd be fun. But we didn't get Mike Mussina when he was at the top of his game, so why would we get John Means?
Yeah, and it's a meaningless game. We didn't get to see Zach Britt at the top of his game in a playoff game. So
Good point.
We know something about not seeing our guys get in there when they should. But I like it. I have it on. I'll watch it to the end. The All-Star game for baseball, all All-Star games are dumb. But the All-Star game for baseball is much more memorable than all the other games. Like I can think of, I remember when the Orioles had hosted the All-Star game, and it was that famous John Kruk and Randy Johnson where John Kruk put his hat on backwards. I also remember vividly the Cal Ripken 2001, his last All-Star game where he hit the home run. I can't tell you anything that happened in any other All-Star game in any other sport besides baseball.
Well, it's beyond that. It's the home run derbies the same way that everyone remembers that Trout and his dad throwing to him in that performance. We remember Bryce Harper.
Oh yeah, and Bryce Harper.
Yeah, and Josh Hamilton just crushing the ball in Yankee Stadium. I mean, Griffey's most famous moment as a baseball player is the home run derby and turning that hat around backwards.
Yeah, and that might be Bryce Harper's most famous moment so far as a major leaguer.
It may be.
That was his best moment as a national.
Right. So, but yeah, the All-Star game, it needs some tweaks. It would be fun if they found a reason to make it somehow mean something, somehow make people care. I don't want it to count for the World Series. Do you? I don't.
No, I don't. But people forget that before that, it was just they would go alternate back and forth every year. All-Star Game, American League, All-Star Game. World Series, American League, World Series, National League, World Series, American League, World Series, National League. And I think now I think it's the best because it's records. But I think the winner of the All-Star Game was better than just a random rotation. But now I think best record is the best.
You know what? I think I would be okay with
whenever Josh says,
you know what?
Game. Whenever Josh says, you know what, something dumb's going to come out. Okay, Josh, you know what?
No, I think I am okay with bringing it back for the All-Star game because it definitely adds meaning to that game, and it's interesting to have your entire team and fan base like if the Orioles were in it and it was All-Star game, we'd be so rooting for the American League because we want that fourth. That's Game 7 or whatever. If it happens, we want that in Baltimore. So I'm kind of for bringing it back to that. I know that it got awkward with that tie a few years ago, but now they've got more players than ever in the All-Star game. And maybe if you tie, you have to play Game 7 at a third-party location.
I disagree with your assumption that it needs to mean something for me to be more interested in it. I don't need it to mean anything. I also think it's kind of messed up that if the Yankees' hopes for making a home field advantage is going to be John Means in the ninth. I think that's kind of messed up for the Yankees. Like how an irrelevant team could determine it.
Well, I think it's kind of messed up that there are, how many teams are in the American League? 15
Well, I think
or whatever?
15 to 15.
In each division? Yeah. So I think it's messed up that there's 15 teams, 9 positions, and 3 of your starters are Houston Astros.
Yeah, they're showing them all on the screen now.
Yeah, they're all on there. They're all on the screen. It kind of reminds me of years ago when the Royal fans rocked the vote in order to get all the Royal players on there.
Yeah, but in fairness, all those 3 guys are deserving and good at
Yeah,
baseball.
I get that.
So I'm still bitter
but
about
if the
favorite
All-Star
teams.
game doesn't mean anything, then spread it out. Spread out the love. And no, Trey Mancini, I'm fine that he didn't get in.
Well, that's also, I'm not fine, but that's also how you can argue every team gets a player because it doesn't mean anything. If it really meant something, then you would never pitch John Means. Like, what are you doing here? You would throw a Verlander for 4 innings or something.
Do you like it still American League, National League, or do you think they should go like the NFL and the NBA have gone where they mix it up? Where they do
NBA
like a
this
draft
past
style.
year did like a freaking draft.
Didn't the NFL also?
Did they?
I like the draft idea.
Yeah, I don't.
I think so.
I like that there's a distinction between the American League team and the National League team. I like that distinction. It makes it a little bit awkward when you're kind of rooting for a Yankee hitter up there. But there's something like the NL, like in the NBA, I feel like there's no real difference between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference.
Right.
With baseball, like there's different rules. I still feel like Washington's like a foreign place because they're the Nationals and they're in the NL. It's like a whole different league over there. American League has all the best teams. You can take pride in that and being an American League fan. I don't know. I kind of like it.
First off, you mentioned the Nationals. I love that they wore the Expos uniforms last week.
Yeah,
I thought
too.
that
I like
looked
that.
Great.
That
was a lot of fun.
Get rid of the national uniforms. They should also move
back to Montreal. Exactly. So I enjoyed that. But I don't know. I see baseball, and I love the American League, National League, but I hate interleague play because it removes that stigma, that magic of National League versus American League. What made the All-Star Game amazing when we were kids is all these National League players that we never saw.
Yeah.
And now like the Cubs come to Baltimore. That would never happen. So I don't like interleague play because of that.
Yeah. So I feel like guys like Mike Trout I never get to see play. It's fun to see Mike Trout play.
True.
And other West Coast players, whether it's American or National League. Because I don't stay up.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So
hey, I have the volume down on the All-Star game. Every player in the All-Star game should be mic'd up. Are they doing mic'd up players? Do we know? I love mic'd up players.
Yeah,
they all should be mic'd up.
So we picked a poor time to start recording. We started recording like 20, 30 minutes into the game.
Yeah. So
I saw one player mic'd up. I totally agree with you. I love the mic'd up players, and it should be every player. And then, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think they pick one player or two. I think they pick one player an inning that wears it.
Okay.
But it should be the players are relaxed. They should do it for spring training too. They should mic the players up. Whenever you can get players that are just relaxed. In fact, the second half Orioles, they should mic everyone up because nobody cares.
Yeah, I'm for that too. I'm for miking up Hanser Alberto running around there playing second, short, and third. I'll get down with that.
I want Manager Hyde. I want Manager Hyde mic'd up when the Orioles are falling apart. When it's 6-run lead in the ninth and they can't keep it. That's when I want Manager Hyde mic'd up.
Don't sleep on the Orioles. They've been playing pretty good ball going into the All-Star break.
They have been.
Does that matter?
They've been playing pretty good ball.
I know it doesn't matter. Like, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. They're not going to contend. It's not about that. Every time the Orioles win, someone tweets out, print the World Series tickets. Like, it's a joke that they think is funny. It's not a funny joke, people. It's dumb and overused. Get over yourselves. But do you think we're not going to make the playoffs? But do you think it matters that we went into the All-Star break? We were 5-5, playing better than we had been.
Yeah. Did you see them? I think was it the manager of the Mets who they won a game and he said we're going to sneak into this wild card. Meanwhile, they're like 14 games out.
I don't know. The
But,
Mets are just that's when
yeah.
that's the GM throwing chairs in the
yeah,
in the clubhouse.
yeah, exactly.
That place is a mess.
Exactly, it's a mess. It matters because it's the pitchers who have been doing well, and that's what matters. It matters that Cashner is pitching well because we're going to trade him. It matters that Means is pitching well because the longer he can keep this thing going, maybe that's real. As far as Nunez hitting another home run and whatever, first Orioles since Boog Powell to hit 20 home runs under the age of 25, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything. The fact that the Orioles are still having fun, I don't know. I'd say it matters as much as Chris Davis is hitting a couple home runs now. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's nice to see, but long-term wise doesn't mean anything.
Right. It makes it enjoyable for us to watch as fans, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
The pitching means something because those are guys that pitching's been a huge question mark, and it makes me wonder twofold if there's something that they're doing developmental-wise that's helping the pitchers, and then two, hey, Cashner's doing well, we can trade him.
Yeah, Cashner, I see that. I mean, the fact that Wojciechowski can pitch a decent game, I don't know how much that means. If Noah pitches a decent game, I don't know how much that means. But,
well, those are the guys that when Wojciechowski and Yanoa go up there and pitch decent, then I'm like, hey, maybe they're doing something in the video room or something. Maybe there's something this team's starting to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but I agree. It's good to see pitching perform well. It's frustrating to see us lose all those games. Like I don't care if we get the number 1 pick. I'm okay with the top 5 pick, honestly. But I don't want to have the worst record in the history of baseball. I don't want to have the worst record in the history of the Orioles. I want to avoid that.
Totally agree.
I want to be bad, but I don't want to be historically bad.
I'd like to be slightly better than last year.
Yeah, I'll take that.
So, what do we got? We got 27 wins right now, I believe.
Oh, is that the total? I don't. It's 27 and 62. So we got above the 300 winning percentage. Nice.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. But you mentioned that Andrew Cashner pitching well might mean trade possibilities.
I mean, that's going to be all the talk for the next 3 weeks, right? Once the All-Star game passes, the people start answering the phone, right?
Yeah. Here's Andrew Cashner. Here's his stats since June. His starts since June. 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. Next outing, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. Next outing, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. Next outing, 7 hits, 3 hits, no runs. And his latest outing, 7 hits, 3 hits, 1 run. So the past since June, and he hasn't missed a start, he's pitched at least 6 innings, and he's given up 3 or less runs every single game. That's pretty impressive stuff.
It is. And the Orioles had us a little streak going there in the past week until I think Saturday or Sunday where it was all the pitchers were going 6 innings.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even mention that Bundy pitched well on his last outing. So, but yeah, I mean, those are the type of numbers that you want from Cashner, especially now when there's like 20-some teams that say they're in the hunt for the wild card. And all those teams could use a pitcher. Yes. And we've got one. So I'm very curious to see what we can get for Cashner because we've been in that place before. This is the 2012 Orioles, 14 and 16 Orioles. This is the Orioles that just need something and they trade for a Bud Norris.
Yeah. What would you say the percentage chance are that he gets traded? Is this a 100% done deal, or could the Orioles hold on to him? Yeah.
Oh, done deal. Cashner's gone. I'd say 99%. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, you think he has to hit like 190 innings or something for his option to kick in for next year. It looks like he's not going to hit that number, so this is the last year of his deal. The only reason you would keep him is clearly the Orioles have no pitching, and you may want to protect guys like Keegan Aiken, so you're not tempted to call them up by keeping Andrew Cashner.
But isn't there other crap at Norfolk that you can bring up?
Well, clearly there's not because we just picked up another guy, Brooks or something, from the Athletics. Like we're just picking up guys left and right off the waiver wire. So I would say it's 98% chance he gets traded. I I would be very surprised. I would be very surprised if he's not traded. I have no expectations for what we can get back for him. He's not a good sabermetric guy. He doesn't have a lot of strikeouts. He's a ground ball guy. His stats the past few years haven't been great, right? He had over 5 run ERA last year. So he's not a reliable, he's not a top of the rotation guy. He's the guy you want for the bullpen or 4th or 5th starter. So I don't think we're going to get a top 100 prospect for him, but you do hope you can get something back for him.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, what about the other big trade chip that we got, Trey Mancini?
Yes.
And he's an interesting one because he's having a great year that many think should be an all-star. And he's a guy that we still have control of for a few more years, but he's also kind of positionless.
Yeah, I mean, he can play average to below average left field. He can play an average first base. He can DH for you. If your team needs offense, though, I mean, here's a guy who's having a career year, batting .291, 17 home runs, 40 RBI. So he's having a really good year, 19 doubles. Kind of all his stats, his OPS is .868. All his stats are the best of his career. He had a good 2017, a down 2018, and now a great 2019. So if your other teams, the first thing you have to ask yourself, is the 2019 Trey Mancini the real Trey Mancini and not the 2018 Trey Mancini? And I think because 2018 was so good and 2019 so good, and even last year he had 24 home runs still, but it was a down year.
Well, that would be 2018.
Yeah, but that was a down year. So if you think you're trading, if you think 2019 Trey Mancini will be the Mancini in the future, then that could warrant a pretty good package. He's not going to become a free agent till 2023. But you're right. He doesn't have a position that he excels at, so it's going to take a team that's okay with that. So it's not like anyone will take Trey Mancini. I think only a few teams would be interested in a Trey Mancini.
Probably an American League team because you've got that DH slot that you can roll with.
Or someone who needs a first base.
Or someone who needs a first base, exactly. It's an interesting case because you made a good point that, someone should trade for Trey Mancini. But with all those years, if you think this isn't peak Trey Mancini or if you think this is what you'll get from Trey Mancini for the next few years, if you don't get the right trade chip, you're might as well keep him and see if you can build this. You own him for a few years.
Yeah.
So he's not a type of guy that you have to trade this year. You could trade him next year, and maybe the value is even more. Maybe it's less, but he's not a guy that you're just trying to dump this trade season.
Right, like maybe an Andrew Kashner is. You would have to get a lot more back than you would for Andrew Kashner. So if someone calls me, a GM calls me, I'm like, Elias, your first name, when you say Trey Mancini, your next name better be a top 100 prospect, and that's to start talking. Once you name a top 100 prospect, we can start talking about other players in that package to make that deal work. But if your first name is not a top 100 prospect, I'm hanging up the phone.
If you name someone in the top 70, I'm saying yes immediately.
I don't know. Straight up?
Straight up.
I don't know. I might want
in the top 100, what do the Orioles have? 2? 3 guys?
Well,
currently?
Well, do you count Adley Rutschman? Because he's going to – I don't know if he's
you got
added yet.
Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall.
Ryan Mountcastle. And depending on the list, Yusniel Diaz, some people might have him on the list. He's gone, I think, fluctuated.
All right,
So you might have 5 guys.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean –
But, you're right. It's got to be someone in that caliber, in that top 100 to have the conversation.
To start the conversation. Because the thing is, and we mentioned it, you're not just getting him for this year. You're getting him cheap for this year. Not going to be that expensive next year when his arbitration starts. But you're going to have him under contract for a few years. So you got to pay for that. This is not a 6-month rental.
Right.
And the Orioles, I'm not one of those people who say, and this is where I differ from a lot of Oriole fans. A lot of Oriole fans say the Orioles are 3 years away from being 3 years away. I disagree. I think
it's a lot. It's going to come fast.
I think 2021 is when we start to compete again. And Trey Mancini will still be under contract for a couple years then.
Yeah, you and I have had this conversation. 21, 22, those are the things that we that you and I both have been using for passwords and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we trust the Orioles.
Don't say anything more about that. I don't want people hacking my account.
Right. I'm not gonna. No, that was a weird coincidence when we found out that we had the same password because of the Orioles.
Just different World Series years of them winning it.
Yeah. One of us believes it'll be a year earlier than the other. But yeah, I agree with you.
But I'm not signing up for this. Let's draft a bunch of 15-year-olds so we can be good in 2030. I'm not on that plan. I want to be relevant and good, not next year, but the year after. I want to start to be relevant again. And Trey Mancini can be a big part of that.
And that had to be part of the conversation with Peter Angelos to bring in and be like, all right, I'm going to give you the reins. You can do whatever you want, but this isn't going to be a 10-year process. I'm going to die soon. You got to do this soon.
Yeah, I think Mike Elias knows that too, right? Like, there's only a certain amount of stomach Oriole fans can have for being the worst. Like, caution, wet floor, I'm on board with it.
You're not going to get your T-shirt every year if you continue to suck.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Sixers route. Like, that's too long of sucking. Like, I want to start to compete again soon. At least try to win again soon. 2021.
Yeah. Right. And I don't need the World Series in 2021.
No. Just like start to compete again.
I need to have fun in 2021.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you put a percentage on Trey Mancini getting traded, what percentage would that be?
50%.
Oh wow.
I have no idea.
Wow. So you think there's a coin flip chance, 50-50 he's traded?
I think the Orioles would love to trade him, but I don't know if there's the right team out there that will give up the right prospects. So I think 50-50.
Yeah. I would put it at 10% he's traded.
Because you don't think anyone's going to give up the right prospects.
I don't think anyone is going to believe in Trey Mancini as much as Mike Elias does. Like, I think 2019 Trey Mancini is really good, and he's signed for a long time. So if he has a good rest of the year, you could look to deal him in the offseason. I would say 50-50 he's traded at some point before his contract runs out, but 10% he's traded at this trade deadline.
Right. But you got to remember, the only person who believes in Trey Mancini even more than Mike Elias is the Oriole fan base.
It's true.
But all things they think he's the biggest snub ever from an All-Star game.
I do too, and it's true. Like, I am biased against my own guys. Like, I always value my guys more than other guys value my guys, just because I know them and I love them.
Right. Sure.
Other guy that could be traded. Let's talk about two more. I'll talk about three more quickly.
All right.
Michael Givens. So here's an interesting case about a guy who is always rumored to be traded. He's having, unfortunately for the Orioles, his worst statistical year of his career. He's got an ERA of 4.76.
But he did have that sweet dive and tag last week. Yeah,
and to his defense, he's been pitching a lot better as of late. If you look at his stats on May 29th, his ERA was 5.70. Now his ERA is 4.76. So in a little over a month, he's brought his ERA down an entire run. And if you look at his starts in June, every appearance, he had 2 strikeouts except for 1. So he's getting strikeouts. His strikeout rate this year is the best of his career at 13 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is fantastic. So
that's good.
So other teams might look at that and say, we know the ERA is high, but the man has freaking electric stuff. He's striking everybody out. It could be a little bit. I saw this in an article. I don't want to take credit because I saw this in an article by Camden Chat, but people were comparing. They were comparing to Camden Chat Michael Givens to Jonathan Scope, and how Jonathan Scope struggled at the beginning of the year, but then got really hot before the trade deadline, and the Orioles capitalized that and traded him. And so maybe
we got a great deal for Scope.
Yeah, it turns out we did. I mean, Villar alone has been better, even though the prospects haven't worked out yet. But so Givens, likelihood that Givens is traded, Josh?
30%.
Okay.
I mean, Mike Elias is going to be trying to trade everyone on this team.
Right.
Whether or not he can get anything is always going to be the negative.
Yeah, and he's becomes a free agent in 2022. I guess the concern you have about Mike Elias with that high ERA, can someone look past that and focus on the peripherals, like the strikeout rate, And can you acknowledge, like, you can turn Michael Givens into something great? Or does Michael Givens need to prove it with the Orioles first before you trade him? So does Mike Elias say, hey, listen, I can get this guy ERA down into the 3s by the end of the season. Then I can maybe deal him in the offseason because, again, you still have a couple years to work with Michael Givens.
And you've always got that thing where you wait till the offseason and there's more teams interested.
Possibly,
where at this point, there's only the teams in the hunt.
So I would say there's a 98% chance he gets traded at some point. But again, I would put it at 50-50. He's traded at the deadline.
Okay. I like your whole some point. At some point in this guy's career, he will get traded.
Yeah, at some point in his career, he will get cut by a team. 100%.
Right. Yep. All right. Who's your next guy?
Dylan Bundy. You mentioned him earlier, how he had a...
Oh, yeah. Pitched well on Friday.
Yeah, he's having I don't know, call it bounce back year. But his ERA is 4.65, which is better than last year when it was over 5. His strikeout numbers are good, over 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. He still gives up a lot of home runs, 2 a game, which is kind of his bugaboo, the home run ball. But maybe a contender could say, hey, listen, if he leaves Camden Yards, maybe we get his home run totals down. If he gets his home run totals down, he could be a much more effective pitcher. He's kind of run it feels like Dylan Bundy's kind of run his course with the Orioles. His free agency.
Yeah, very similar to Gausman last year.
Yeah, and his free agency is 2022, but like his velocity's down. He's not the guy we all thought he'd be. Do you kind of cut bait with him now, even though his stock isn't very high? Do you think the Orioles will pursue trading Dylan Bundy?
Well, yes, because they're going to pursue trading anyone that breathes. But I'm going to say 5 to 6% chance he gets traded. I'm going real low on Bundy trade.
What is preventing him from being traded?
He sucks.
Okay.
his track record. No, he's not proven. He hasn't.
What about the
even
high
in Baltimore,
prospect status, high draft pick, all that stuff?
But see, those are the guys that Mike Elias would want. Those were the type of guys that Mike Elias would try to trade for.
Right.
Was guys like that. So if it's not working here, if he needs to change, it's not like you're going to call Mike Elias and say, hey, remember Jake Arrieta? No, Mike Elias is now here. So it's like, who are you going to call and say, hey, remember Jake Arrieta had that amazing year after leaving the Orioles? Forget about the fact that Gausman left and sucks. But no, I don't. I think he in Baltimore in all his career, he's had, 2 months where he was great?
Yeah,
it's the most he's ever strung together.
He's done that a couple times, or he's had a couple. Yeah,
right. But it's never longer than 2 months.
And yeah, it never is. And he gives up way too many dongs. I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, you could probably trade him for a bag of balls, but why would you trade him for a bag of balls? Like, you would just keep him because you need a starter, and he's under contract for a while, and you hope you can maybe make something of him. But I don't see any team giving you anything for him. So I'm with you. I think, what'd you say, 5%?
I said 5.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Right. No, I think now who's your last guy? Because I really think Cashner and Mancini's the only guys in double-digit percentage with chance.
You don't think?
So who's your last guy?
The guy who has the only guy to have 20 home runs and a 25 going on there with Boog Powell. You don't think Renato Nunez? Any team would be interested in Renato Nunez?
That's an interesting one.
Isn't it?
I didn't think about him because the Orioles aren't interested in him. No, he's not going to be around here.
He is a subpar defender. He's DH, but he can play the corner infield positions kind of subparly. But
and the same
really
people that call for Trey Mancini. All right, that's a very good point because when people call for Trey Mancini, and you say, "All right, I want a top 100," and they say, "No, well, we can only give you this guy," then you can always come back with, "Oh, well, I can't give you Trey, but look at this Nunez kid."
Yeah,
the same type of guy. Poor defender, but power.
20 home runs, 17 doubles, OPS is 799. I mean, he
has
a
like
low batting average. He strikes out a lot, but he's kind of like your discount Trey Mancini.
Yeah, he is. He's a discount Trey Mancini. I'm going to give him 20%. Because, again, there's no reason for the Orioles to keep anyone around.
Yeah, he's still under the, I don't know what you call it. Like, he hasn't hit arbitration yet. So he's still under his, like,
he's under 25. Yeah.
He makes nothing. He's 25. I don't see him. He's not a free agent until 2025. But I don't see him really as a part of the Orioles' future. So if you need a young power hitting guy, the other thing is though he's out of options. So I don't know if a team will want him because he's out of options, but I also want the Orioles to trade him because he's out of options. Give the Orioles some more flexibility.
Right.
So I think if anyone will take him for an average prospect, I think the Orioles would welcome a deal for Renato Nunez.
All right. Well, then I. All right. If we're going down that path, young guys that might have something. How about the hottest bat in our lineup right now? Batting 309 batting average.
Hanser Alberto.
Hanser Alberto.
Yeah, I think he's a nice player. The problem with Hanser Alberto is all the nerd stats, like the runs created, the weighted runs created plus, and all that stuff, go against him because he only freaking hits singles and he never walks. But I like him as a utility guy. Can play 20 different positions, can crush his lefties, can hit for average. I don't see him having a lot of value for a team who's really competing, but I think he's a great rebuild guy to watch. So. I think it's unlikely that he gets dealt.
Yeah, it's a funny guy that, again, it's just weird. Another weird player that you wouldn't see except for the teams trying to lose.
Yeah, because you look at batting, he has one of the best batting averages in all of baseball, but no one would call him one of the best hitters in baseball. Normally, people have high batting averages or really great hitters. No one really looks at him as a great hitter. He just happens to have a very high batting average.
And he's had over 200 at bats, so it's not like it's a fluke week.
Yeah.
Like he's put up the numbers. It's just weird.
Yeah, he's a weird guy, and some people thought he should be an all-star, and other people made fun of people who said that he should be an all-star. So he's just a weird. He's having a kind of an unbelievable year, but it's just kind of a weird thing.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the Futures game?
No.
DL Hall and
no.
Grayson Rodriguez?
I was kind of following on. I was not by a device to watch it, but I was kind of following on social media what people were saying. I know DL Hall and Grayson Rodriguez both had good performances there.
Very good innings. Yeah. They both pitched scoreless innings. Did very well.
Yeah, and like I said, at the All-Star break, I've talked about this before on the show, but at the All-Star break, my takeaway is the Orioles are having a really good season if you look at the rebuild, right? The minor league pitchers are having great years. Peralta was just caught up. Alex Wells was just named the pitcher of the month. Those are kind of under the radar pitchers. But we're having, not to mention Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall making the All-Star game, the Futures game, rather. So I think all those are great signs that the Orioles prospects are heading the right direction. A couple of things could work out, like can Austin Hayes please stay healthy? That's a huge one. Can Diaz, stay healthy and continue to improve? Can Keegan Aiken really prove himself to be a major league pitcher? Like, there's still a lot of question marks, but I think I'm excited about the minors and kind of where this team's headed halfway. Like, I would call this season a success so far, just based on getting the number one draft pick in all of baseball, who's going to be like a top 10 prospect in America, and then the kind of growth of our young pitchers. I think it's been a really good year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Which is kind of crazy to say.
So. Right. It is.
Oh, one more trade chip. Any chance at all, since the Orioles aren't going to compete for a while, that John Means gets traded? Teams would like to have John Means.
Teams would love to have John Means. The Baltimore Orioles would like to have John Means in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So John Means is going to be your opening day starter next year.
Yeah. He's young enough to keep. He can be part of this future, and starting pitchers are so hard to find. Yeah, I don't see an apartment with John Means at all. Given our history of trying to sign and develop starting pitchers, you get one. That guy ain't going nowhere.
Right. No, he's pitching in here next year, good or bad. He's here next year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that one. Negative 10% chance he gets traded.
Right. All right, now you ready to break down the celebrity softball game?
Did that thing happen?
Yeah, that's they play that every year. And last night it came on ESPN after the All-Star game, and it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen on ESPN. I only watched a little bit of it.
You've seen cornhole on ESPN, right? That's the most embarrassing thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, but I did have fun as there was some girl, a gymnast or something, who was playing like left field, and they hit the ball to her like 4 or 5 times in a row, and the ball just dropped over her head. And that entertained me. That reminded me of like church league softball. It was embarrassing. And then, hey, I forgot to mention with the home run derby, you didn't watch it on TV. Do they always have a DJ?
Yeah, the reason that they have a DJ now, I think, and I don't recall DJs in the past, was because usually you had Chris Berman in there going back, 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 back. And now you don't have that, so you got to go with a DJ. I
didn't mind the DJ because I liked the music that was going on during the time. And I enjoyed that, but now that you're mentioning that back, why doesn't the DJ have a little sound drop to press and play that? The DJ should be playing that while it goes through. We need a Chris Berman button on the DJ.
Yeah. I agree. The more buttons they have, the better. I want the DJ to be the button lover.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. All right. Before we get out of here, you want to share your strawberry story?
Oh yeah. Of course, there's been going around this past couple weeks the ice cream challenge.
Yeah, the ice cream licking.
Yeah, which is not really my snowflake, but that's.
I don't even think that's a real thing. Okay. I think that person did it, and then they bought the ice cream and they left, and now the world's making a big deal about it.
I think the one girl was fined and maybe arrested for it, but they're they're pressing charges on all these people, which is great. But
I didn't know there was more than one person doing it.
Oh no! Like
how are these people still alive? Didn't they all eat the Tide Pods last year?
Yeah, I guess it's just further evidence that people can no longer have any individual experiences. Everything they have to put on social media. Speaking of which,
it's all for TikTok.
You know what else is for TikTok? I don't know if it's for TikTok or Insta Story or something, but it's not for individuals. It's for other people to see. Gender reveal parties.
I saw this story.
Now, I got to be careful.
Because gender reveal stories have been a problem for a while.
Yes. There's a history here of, like, people burning down forests with gender reveal parties.
Right, right.
So we have another story in the news recently. This was, I guess, the intention was for the color to come out of the exhaust pipe.
I saw the video. I assumed it was supposed to be like, when you burn rubber and you kick up a bunch of smoke, that that was what they were going for.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the color blue came out, which is unfortunate for them because it means they're having a boy. But the second unfortunate thing that happened is the car caught on fire and kind of blew up. And the third unfortunate thing, so after the car blows up, then the cops come and says you have to pay $1,000 and your license is suspended for 6 months. So they lost their car, they lost their license, and they have to pay a $1,000 fine, and they have to put up with a boy in their life. And it also every time I see this, it raises the question: those poor kids are going to be raised by these
stupid parents.
You said it, yeah. These dumb parents.
Yeah, you and I never did a gender reveal party or gender reveal
very
thing, and
personal and powerful moment between my wife and I. I didn't feel the need to.
And the doctor in the room.
Well, we actually waited at home and just did it.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah. No, and the problem is that now that person set their car on fire, it's not going to stop the gender reveals. It's always one-upping people. It's always trying to one-up. My favorite gender reveal from the past couple months was the guys that had the little fireworks that were going off with colors, and the guy was holding the firework upside down, so it shot him in the crotch.
I like that one.
And so that's how the color got announced. So I enjoyed that because the millennial got pain for doing a stupid gender reveal.
Yeah, I always enjoy the baseball toss where the guy misses the ball. And
right. And yes, that's always fun too.
Yeah, because then it becomes not a celebration of the gender, but it becomes a mockery of the man, which I always enjoy. Right.
And that's where you hope it's pink, because if it's blue, you can never raise your son to be a man. We just saw you can't hit a ball.
Yeah. Then you just hope it's pink. That's absolutely true.
Right.
You just hope it's pink. It's pink at that point. So, cut out with this is just a fad, right? This will end at some point, the gender reveal party.
I think so. It's got to. Yeah.
I give it 6 months. How many more cars have to blow up, though, Josh, before we stop this?
Well, I mean, it was just last year that we had a whole forest set on fire.
That's right. You thought that would have ended it, right?
Right. And then I saw of course, in Florida, I saw someone using like an alligator to pop a balloon with the gender. So people are just stupid.
Yeah. Well, that story was actually from Australia, not Florida, unfortunately, because I'm sure there's a lot of Florida gender reveal stories.
I guarantee it.
Maybe happening to the room next to you. Who knows?
Maybe. There may be. I'm in a nicer hotel now.
All right, boys and girls, thanks for listening to Section 336. Make sure you follow all our social media accounts to follow out when we're posting next. I know we've been a little bit spotty with the days, with vacation and moving and all that jazz. Follow us, though, on all the social medias. Just search Section 336. You can follow me on... Yeah, Josh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and rate and review the shows up on iTunes. 336 Daily is now on iTunes, Google Play, everything but TikTok. You can find it. Maybe I should put it on TikTok. Got to figure out how that works.
You should. So you already subscribed to Section 336. Now go ahead and subscribe to 336 Daily. And while you're there, write a review for both shows. You can follow me on Instagram at Section 336. You can follow Josh on Instagram.
On Josh
Twitter.
Soroka. Or Twitter. They're both the same. I was like, why are you... I wondered why you were saying Instagram.
I don't know. Don't follow me on Instagram. It's none of your business. Yeah. Follow me on Instagram for my next gender reveal party. All right, boys and girls. Thanks for listening. And as always, go O's. Get some prospects.
Thank you for listening to the Section 336 podcast. Please go to iTunes and Facebook for all complaints or the occasional compliment. If I were you, I would not take any baseball advice from these guys. Josh and Matt were raised by an Orioles-obsessed father, and Bert fell in love with Don Mattingly. He has a thing for mustaches.